Hi guys, this is the video where I'm going to show you the teacher perspective for my Nearpod online resource. Nearpod is a site that I've just discovered, but I've been using a lot. You can create a free account. There are some things that paid members get to do that free members can't, but I have the free account and I can do a lot of really cool things. As you can see, it's available for all of these different types of sources. I always use it on the web, and I have my students access it on the web because we have Chromebooks, but you could also download the app for them on an iPad, like I talked about in my other presentation. If students are coming to look and interact with your presentation, you would have them go to nearpod.com and then join a session. Every time you make a presentation, it gives you a unique code that you can give to students, and they'll type it in up here to access that. I'm going to log in as the teacher so that I can show you Nearpod from my perspective. So when I log in, it takes me here, and I would like to look at my library. So these are all the things that I've created before, and this is the presentation that I made for this lesson that we're talking about. So it'll always bring you your presentation, and then there's related things that other teachers have made, which you can also show to your students. These are all by LearnZillion, which is another resource. But once you open your presentation, you have the option of sharing it, editing it, assigning it for homework, or doing a live session. We're going to do a live session. That's how you get your students to interact with it. So this is the pin that I was talking about. This is what you would give to your students to type in on the home screen. And then this is what I see. So this is the presentation that I made, and this is what I project on the screen in the room for students to look at. And then they have a different version of it on their devices, which I will make another video showing you the student, what a student sees when I go through the presentation. But this is my my view of it. Up here, when students join, this is where they would be up here, and then you can always see the pin to have other kids join at any time. But it would say like 22 up here if you had 22 students in your class looking at it. And then you kind of go through it just similar to like a PowerPoint presentation, stopping to talk where you need to. So this is an inquiry into immigration. Today you will be able to define a primary source, define a secondary source, and make inferences about another time period. Then I would just go to the next part, student list. So this is if I had real students doing this with me right now, this is where they would show up. So they get to put their name in and join, and then this is where I could see all the students that are in it. And then this is the first slide of the presentation. What is a primary source? And then just a definition, so very basic, something created during the time that is being studied. So I would talk a little bit about that and provide background for the kids. And then my next slide is some examples. Some examples are photographs, documents like the Constitution, letters, and newspapers. And then this would show up on student screen. Again, I would show you this. I'm going to show you this in a separate video. But this shows up on student screens. It's a slideshow that I made of examples, and they can go through it on their own screen to look at examples of primary sources that I put up for them. And they can click through it on their own however they want to. This shows up on their screen, and it looks a little different. And then this is a comprehension check. So this is what shows up on my screen. Again, it looks different for kids, so make sure you watch my other video that shows you the kid version, because this will all make a little bit more sense. But kids will answer a poll for this one, and it's a comprehension check. Which of the following could be a primary source? And then these are the answers. Kids are going to pick an answer, and then it'll show you my results on here as well. It'll show you which kid answered which question, and then I can look in real time how kids answered, and I can also show the class how everyone is answering if I want to, or I could hide it. Then we go into more information. What is a secondary source? Secondary sources are documents written after an event has occurred, providing secondhand accounts of that event, person, or topic. And then again, very similar, I give them some examples. I give them another slideshow. So at this point I would stop and give them like a minute or two to look through this on their own screen, where they can look at the examples right on their screen and click through the resource on their own. Then it's followed by another comprehension check. Which of the following is not a secondary source? So this is a multiple choice question. The first one was a poll question. Nearpod lets you do activities in a bunch of different varieties, so it's really cool for UDL type of things, because as you'll see later on, you can also do written responses, you can do pictures, and those are all the ways that kids can answer on their end, so it's really cool. So that's just another basic question, and it tells me the kids' results as well right here. This is a open response question, so it'll show up differently for the students, but it says pretend it is the year 2050 and people want to learn about your life in the year 2015. Below, draw a picture of a primary source you could leave behind. So when you see the student version, it's really cool. What will come up is like a drawing tool, just like in MS Paint or whatever. And they can actually draw it on with their pointer, or if it's an iPad with their finger, or they can do a Google search and find an example and put it in there, and it's all very interactive for them, and the kids love putting drawings in. And then the best part is that I can share student examples right onto their screens. So when I get all of their results in, I can pick one of them that I can send to everyone's screen who's in the session, and it'll pop up. So kids who I pick as an example of great work, they love seeing it pop up. So that's really cool. Then it's this is just a poll question, and it's a prediction. How do you think primary sources are related to the idea of immigration? That's the last part of this presentation, just to kind of make connections to the stuff that we're going to be doing in our unit, because this is a kickoff lesson. But yeah, so this is Nearpod from the teacher's perspective. And these are some other ones that I've done for my actual classes, and then this is how you make a new one. I'll just show you guys real quick what it looks like to make a new one, but I highly, highly recommend getting yourself an account on this. It's super easy and super quick, and the kids love it so much. And I do almost every time I do guided instruction or like whole group lessons, I do it with a Nearpod at this point, because it's really awesome, and kids love it. So that is this part. This is my online activity from my point of view. Please watch my other video, which is going to be the online activity from the student's point of view, because that'll be a lot cooler. Bye guys.